Today on LMS Builds, we get marked up.
We're going to assess a 93 Lincoln Continental Mark VIII that we literally got from the salvage yard, towed it here, took it off the trailer, and put it in the shop.
Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it's a little rough, but I think there's some gems hiding underneath the surface.
And by gems, do you mean faux wood grain?
Full wood grain, maybe something like a 464 valve, air ride suspension.
So, you know, we're going to look pretty cool rocking. I mean, what do you think?
I think it's going to work out pretty well.
Yeah, okay. We need a name. We need a name for the project. What do you guys think?
Well, it's purple.
I don't know. I mean,
there's not much purple paint left on the car.
Well, I mean, there's a
But it's
little-
purple, guys.
Right? Yeah.
Flying purple people eater?
Yeah.
There you go. I like it. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right.
That's
cool.
good.
All right.
Well, I guess this is the start of the project.
Okay, cool.
Let's get to work.
This giant piece of American luxury beauty. Look at it. You're probably thinking right now, I can't believe these guys paid $1,700 for this, and this guy can't either. Come and check out our sweet. At least we got a chrome. We got a chrome rim here. That's you know, that's probably like $200 of what we spent on it, and completely useless for what we want to do. Why do you choose a Mark VIII for a project car? It's ugly, it's big, it's heavy. It does have a few things. It's very aerodynamic. It has a very long wheelbase, 113 inches actually, which is very good for high-speed stability. I think you guys can kind of see where this is going. Maybe you guys can guess. Let's just say we don't want to go fast at the drag strip with this. Other advantages is rear-wheel drive, kind of hard to find, cheap, and it's got a 4.6 liter dual overhead cam V8 that's very, very modifiable. They have a huge aftermarket. They came in Mustangs, they came in trucks, they came in all kinds of things. So for going fast, it's actually a pretty good platform, even though it looks like a giant piece of luxury turd. You guys want to check out the interior? Come on, let's look at this. Sweet faux wood grain. Is it too dark? I don't know. Look at that. Oh,
Ooh, it smells like tacos. And, you know, actually it's not that bad for a car that's been sitting outside for this long. It really isn't. I guess Lincoln did a good job with the seals.
I think somebody took out the back seat. I don't know if they were trying to turn it into some kind of love nest. I don't want to touch that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to touch it either.
I mean, that faux wood grain, that's probably another $200 what we spent on it, right?
Easy.
Yeah,
Easy.
so I mean, really all we paid was like $1,300 for this car.
Pretty much. Now, we got to see what's in the power barn under the hood there, because
all right. Let's pop
that is probably the biggest reason why we chose this car.
All right, look at the majesty. The majesty. What is this thing for? Oh gosh. Wow, this is
Did you break it already? You broke it already, didn't you?
so bad. I don't even know. So this is the high quality American.
Keith, help your boy out.
Oh, got it.
Oh, he got it.
Okay, all right.
So, Dwayne, you're the Ford guy. Tell us exactly what this giant, large box of snakes is going on underneath the hood there.
This is actually a unique piece of American automotive engineering history. This is a dual overhead cam, 4.6 liter V8, and this is actually the very first installation of it ever. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, this is a 93, right?
93.
Yeah, this is a 93. So this is actually the first year. This is the first year of this motor. And at the time, you know, most American cars came with, you know, you had like your 318, your TPI 350. I mean, or wait, LT1 just came out. Something
LT1
like that.
just came out.
You know, and these were pretty low tech, even though the companies were trying to update them. And then Ford drops this sort of bombshell, and it made 280 horsepower, which at the time was, you know, very, very good for this type of car. It's pretty pathetic by modern standards, but hopefully we can fix that.
Well, there's been some people that have gone real fast with these motors, right?
Yeah, there's a guy who's gone fives in the quarter mile with this exact engine and these exact heads. Stock castings and stock heads, so you can go very fast. That's pretty extreme. We're not looking to do anything like that, but I think it's a jewel waiting to be polished.
That's a real
by
good way
us.
to look at it. So as far as the transmission goes, what are we looking at there?
So this is a 4R70W. They're pretty strong trans. The 70 stands for 700 Newton meters of torque, so they can handle quite a bit of torque. I don't know what that is in good old American money, 520. I don't know. Somebody will do the conversion and prove me wrong. But it's a pretty good trans. It'll handle what we need to do for it because we're not trying to drag race, as we said before. And I think the aerodynamics and the long wheelbase will give people a hint at what we're trying to accomplish with the car. It's dirty. Why don't we get around to washing? Maybe power wash this thing before we get started?
Yeah, I'm not one on getting dirty. Your rear suspension looks pretty clapped out there, bud.
Well, we did get something for our $1,700, and that is a glorious, glorious air suspension. Like a purple phoenix rising from the ashes of the junkyard, this thing is awesome. Hit it, Hal. Nah, just a bit silly. Was something supposed to happen?
One eternity later.
So our next step in trying to get this thing running or to see if it fires, we discovered that the fuel pump is not working. We checked the fuse. Now we're going to check the electrical at the tank itself, and to get at the tank we've got to do a little bit of work. So the tank sits mid on the car here, and we've got to remove an exhaust piece to get this out of the way. So we're going to begin to work on that now. So now what we're going to do after we've got the exhaust off, which came out actually very reasonably, we're going to go after the two straps that hold the gas tank up here. We're going to try and get our bolts loose. Let's see how this goes. And you don't want to take them all the way out until you know that you've got all four of them loose. Okay, what you want to do is, you have access, is we want to get the filler tube strap clamps off. And then we're going to see if we can get these hoses off of here.
Okay, so we got the fuel tank out. It actually wasn't too bad, and we're real lucky. This car has a plastic fuel tank, which is nice because it sat so long. I mean, as far as we know, this car hasn't run in over a decade. So a lot of times when you have cars sit that long, the fuel tanks will rust, or there'll be a lot of varnish you got to clean out, that kind of thing. This is a much better situation. So we could try and repair this pump or diagnose what's going on with the electricals, but we have plans, obviously, to make the car faster than stock. So we are going to take this opportunity to upgrade our fuel system. It's pretty easy these days to do this. There's a lot of drop-in pumps for this setup, and we went with a Walboro GSS 35003, which is a stock diameter. So the body's the same diameter as the pump that's in there, and it's 350 liters per hour drop-in, which is crazy. This actually replaced Walboro's original 255 pumps, their line of pumps. So it's the same size as those old 255s that everyone used to run, but it flows enough for what we want to do, and it's very cheap. It's $108.94 right from Walboro, which is very, very cool. So we got our electrical connector. You got to change that. It's not the same as factory, which is a little unfortunate, but we'll show you how to do that, and we'll clean this tank up and get cracking.
This has a compression ring, around it, and you need to have a little punch, and a hammer, and just kind of go around, run it. And the ring comes off. Your hat, and then that'll be removed. And you want to be careful with your sender arm, because if you bend that up, you won't get, an accurate fuel level. There you go. And there it is.
That pump looks terrible.
Yeah, that pump looks wasted. Okay, so our hat looks pretty bad. This thing has sat for over 20 years on it, and you can see the rubber on the filter is just totally disintegrated, and it's just really pretty bad. So now we're going to put a new pump on it. We're going to clean everything up before we put it back in, so we don't have any of this rusty stuff falling around in the tank, and we'll show it to you after we clean it up.
So one of the things that you can do to make sure that the rheostat that's in your fuel sending unit still works is to hook it up to a multimeter. Doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, it'll work either way. You want to ground it to the base as well as the lead wire. And then you're just going to move this slowly. And what you're looking for is just a change in your ohm reading. As it comes down, it should go up. And as it goes up, it should go down.
Okay, so we got our pump into the stock hat. We just use some fuel line hose. You always want to make sure you use the high pressure hose when installing a pump like this. And then some clamps to hold it. By some stroke of genius, magical karma, the stock connector bolts right in, plugs right into the upgraded pump, so we didn't have to do any wiring, which is, pretty rad. We've got a new sock. This is specially designed. It's higher flow. It's got a bigger inlet hole than the other one. But yeah, it's ready to go. We're going to drop it in the tank now, and we are pumped. Okay, so pad is back in with the new pump. We tested all these wires to make sure that they're, they have no resistance before we throw it back in there. Everything works. The tank cleaned up real nice. It's ready to go back in, so let's hop to it.
Alright, so we've got the gas tank back inside. We need to put the fuel filter back in, which is located in the inner fender well on the passenger side of all places. So next we're going to do plugs on this thing because they've been sitting forever. We kind of want to take a look at the plugs and read them a little bit. Some people say it's kind of like reading tea leaves, but sometimes you can tell, cylinder's down on compression or if it's running rich. I mean, it's EFI car, so it should be running pretty uniformly, but we'll take a look and see what the plugs have to say. So we're going to tear into it next.
So we decided to change the spark plugs because, it's just what you do when you pull something out of a junkyard, show it a little love. And the news is not very promising. So if you can see, this plug is covered in oil and is jet black, and all of the plugs are similar. Now, this valve cover has a seal that seals the spark plug tube, and it's possible those are leaking because it sat so long, and that's why there's some oil. Because if you look at the tips, the actual firing tip is not oily, so we aren't sure. Probably the right thing to do would have been to do a compression and leak down test, but we're going to pretend we didn't see that. We already put the new plugs in, and we just kind of want to hear it run. So that's what we're going to do. So right now we're fighting with the fuel filter. It was a real pain in the butt getting the original one out of there, putting in a brand new Motorcraft fuel filter, because that's what you do when you love something.
All right, this is the moment of truth. We're gonna see if the fuel pump primes.
Brian, you hear it?
Yep.
Try it again. That's it.
It's not leaking over here.
leaks?
No leaks.
No leaks that I see. It's not quiet.
Wow, that's a big pump.
Yeah.
So it'll work. Should we check the oil? You want to check the oil real quick, Dad? See if it's even got oil in it.
It's full.
Can we see if it'll even start?
Go for it.
Yeah? You ready?
Yeah. It's trying. She'll even idle for a guy.
Wow. You see that luxury? That smooth, quiet luxury. Hey, you're running. The dash is telling me to
Amazing. After 20 plus years, we brought it back to life.
So it's actually even telling us that we need to change the oil. So I guess that's what we're going to do.
Oh yeah, don't want to get your oil on the paint. Alright, that was a pretty epic day, right guys?
Sure was.
So what do we do today?
We got the oil change, got the fuel pump done, fuel filter, made sure it runs through the gears. So, I mean, from a drivetrain standpoint, it seems to be there.
So what you're
New
saying...
plugs.
New plugs, yeah.
That's true, yeah. So it's not... It's like 90% of turd down, not 100% of turd. We like,
Maybe 86.7.
Okay. That's a very realistic figure.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, well, that's our first day on the Mark VIII build here on LMS Builds. And always remember...
Get smart.
Go fast.